Hey there, so in this video I'll show you what namespaces are and how to create them with your editor. So if you are already familiar with this concept and you know how to edit namespaces, feel free to skip this video, otherwise let me show you what they are. So a namespace, you can think of a namespace essentially as a way of packaging different names, different functions, different variables, different operators, etc. And we have seen when we created this link between our directory, our working directory, and the session, we have essentially linked a namespace with that directory. And the namespace we have linked is this hash namespace here. So if I go ahead and if I type bracket map, then we see that all these names over here, the things we have created so far, are inside this hash. So this hash is a namespace, because if I do hash dot something, then I can access the names that are inside. Except that the hash is a very special namespace because it's the root one, it's the base one. And we haven't worked in any other namespaces yet. But what we can do is, when we want to have some things packed together, we can create namespaces for those things. And we will do that right now for the loss function. And why are we going to do that? Well, we can see here, you specifically, you can see here that we have this derivative of the MSE loss function and this MSE loss function. And these two things really go hand in hand, because it's one function and its derivative. And it makes sense for them to be together. And not only it makes sense, but it's also helpful later on. And not only that, but we will see a similar pattern with the leaky relu activation function. So this is a good time to show you how namespaces work and how to create them, so that we can later use them for the loss function and the leaky relu. So if you want to edit a namespace, there's other ways of creating namespaces, but I want to show you this one now. You can type in paren ed, and then you use the symbol of the logarithm, so the APL shift 8, and then you type the name of the namespace, let's say NS, and you press enter. And the editor pops up, and it contains already two lines for you, which are these two. It's the line that starts a namespace and the line that ends a namespace. And now in here, you can type stuff. You can assign maybe a character vector, for example, or you can maybe assign a function that adds two things together, or maybe you can even assign that operator that we used for approximating numerically the derivative of a function. And it's not, don't worry about the formula now, I'm just implementing an operator to show you that you can do that. Now if you fix this, and remember that you can fix by going to the menu here, File, Fix, or by pressing Escape, or some keyboard shortcut if you have set any. Now what I can do here is I can type bracket map, and notice now that not only we have the names that were already there, but I also have listed under the root namespace, I have this NS, and it contains these things. And if I go to the session, and if I type NS dot, I see that it suggests, it autocompletes the names of the things I have in there. For example, ns.string, or maybe 3ns.add5, which gives me 8. So the things of this namespace are all packed together, and again, that's helpful if you want things to be together. Now obviously you can also go ahead and say something like ns.t gets this, and now we can see that the namespace ns contains some new variable, but that doesn't reflect over here. And I'll just close this and assign this again, so you can see that it doesn't reflect in the code even after I've closed the window. So this is like the base of your namespace, and then you can modify it programmatically, but that won't reflect in the code itself. Okay, so this is what you end up with. And yeah, I think for this video this was enough. Now what will happen in the next video is that we will do something like this, but for our loss function. So we're going to pack the loss function and its derivative together. Yeah, so play around with this a little bit, try to create your own namespaces, and then check back for the next video. Bye.